So we got Otis leading us off.
Hey,
this
man.
season.
Season 2, man. Dose. I know that one. Hey, partner, we back for season 2 of Alpha Mentality, man. New year, new experiences. How you feeling?
I'm feeling great, man. How are you feeling?
I'm good, man. We wrapped up that first season. Was like 2 months ago or 3 months ago or something
Yeah,
like
like
that,
2
right?
months. Like 2 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we back to feed the people, right?
Right.
Get you guys your nutrients. Again, for everybody that's out there, for all listening purposes, this is the Alpha Mentality Podcast. My name is Otis Bird.
I am Jeffrey Nadal.
That's right. And I think we got to kind of refamiliarize people with what the heck we're trying to accomplish here, because I think it's important that you understand the journey that we're on and some of the things that we're trying to enlighten everybody about. Not that we're your gurus, but the Alpha Mentality. This concept started some time ago, and it's evolved into many different facets. But the Alpha Mentality for you, Jeff, what is that, man? Let's talk about, why is this podcast so significant?
Just growing each and every day, man. I think the best part is seeing in our episodes 1 through 15. If you guys go back and listen to episode 1, it's going to sound a little bad in the background. The mic's going to be a little off.
He's a perfectionist.
Yeah, it was bad, guys. It was real bad. And now when you kind of look at it to where we're at right now, this one's going to sound so much more crisp. It's going to look nice. We got a different background for you guys. We
Yeah.
decided to trash the fireplace that used to be back here. No, we're playing, guys. The fireplace is over there.
It's just a green screen. He's lying. We just click a button. I can click it, but I'll do it at the 100th episode when we actually light the fireplace still. So
Yeah, we are going to do it, though.
I'm ready.
We're keeping our word to you guys. We'll be back on the fireplace very soon.
I'm ready.
In essence, that is what the Alpha Mentality was all about, just growing. And the fact that we've been able to grow on this podcast with the listeners, the amount of downloads we've gotten since we started, humbling, very humbling.
It really is. I mean, it's been a great experience just because, like you mentioned, we've had an opportunity to grow ourselves behind the camera. And I think most people, if you professionally speak to people or you just maybe a conversationalist, I think one of the things that you'll realize is that when you put yourself in these uncomfortable situations, like starting a podcast, despite us like wanting to start one for a long time. I know Jeff has got stories where he could have done it with some other people, myself as well. But for us to be, what is this in total, episode 16, we've really grown. We really had an opportunity to learn. And from our learnings, we want to be able to teach people how to just necessarily grow and develop that alpha mentality. So I think leading off this season, man, first of all, I just want to say thank you for the support, for subscribing to whether that may be Instagram. YouTube has been blowing up. I just don't know. I mean, I don't even know you people on YouTube, but hey, I want to get to know
People like your eyebrows though, bro. People like your eyebrows on YouTube.
Hey, they think I do these eyebrows. Like I wake up. Like no knock to anybody that wakes up and does their eyebrows, but in the words of Beyonce, I woke up like this. All right. And this is an ongoing thing. In fact, my daughter has these eyebrows. My father has these eyebrows. It's just hereditary. But this season is going to be one for, I believe, the books, because we keep getting better.
Yep.
I just bought, I'm a big wine guy. I bought, I love Rumbauer and I love Silver Oak as a vineyard. And just like these two vineyards, they're really good. We get better with time. And we want to provide some value to everybody just so that we can reciprocate. We've been able to be in positions where we can have real life experiences, whether that may be in a job, whether that may be in a relationship or in business. We both, entrepreneurs. We've been united here for over a year.
Right? A year now, yeah.
Yeah, over a year, something like that.
Feels like a lot longer than that.
Man, I know, man. That's crazy when you get an opportunity to grow with people. So we want you all to have that same feeling with us, okay? Where you can feel like that, we're not your gurus, but we're some guys who just, we just want to grow with you. We want to be able to be conversation with you, figure some things out. So a couple things we'll be discussing this season. I don't know. Maybe you give one or two of the ideas or some thoughts you may think people may want to hear from this season from us.
I think one of the biggest things that we heard and the feedback that we got from people is people want to learn more about leadership development. How do you develop as a leader? What has gotten us the confidence, right? Because a lot of people kind of mentioned it was like, hey, you guys are kind of growing your confidence on camera. You can see where you guys were a little a little sketchy maybe the first couple episodes, and it just continued to grow. So they want to know what changed, what did we read, different books. That always kind of comes up. Who are you guys around? Who else are you guys talking to? Who else is in your circle? So things like that. That's what people really want to know and see.
Yeah, that's good because I'm an avid reader. I recommend books all day long. I'm reading a book right now called Give and Take. Give and Takers or Give and Take. Anyhow, it's a great read, but some of this information we learn, most of it is through either experience, books, or a combination of that plus the circles of people that we're around.
Right.
And we just want to share that with you. You know, I find my story to be pretty significant. Prior to this, I was in the pharmaceutical industry, right? I was kind of going back and forth to work. I uprooted my wife and I, we uprooted from the city of Chicago. We came out here. We've been in California for the last 12 years this February. And I transitioned from the pharmaceutical industry after 12 years, abruptly went into the financial industry. And I had to learn myself. I had to learn how to pivot, you know, in an entrepreneur role. And not that makes the world of our next points that we're going to advance, but what it means is that we've been able to grow and learn ourselves in different ways. And I think that you could share the same thing as well, too, from being a school teacher. This guy has written a 92-page paper. What do you call it? A thesis or a dissertation?
A thesis, yeah, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I guess
thesis.
it's a freaking autobiography.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that. But for him to do that and walk away from what he was kind of programmed to do and lead him where he is now, man, how incredible is it, you know, to kind of look back after, you know, a long time kind of following the routine and jumping into something now where, you know, you guys have had success. By the way, side note, I want to shout him and his wife out. They just hit an income high in business with us. And, man, I'm excited. I wasn't doing what these guys are doing. So I don't know. Maybe you want to speak to that before we jump into our topic.
Yeah, it's been freeing, man. I think that's been the ultimate thing that me and Liz always talk about. Like, yo, we're free. We wake up every single day. It's so crazy because during this holiday time, right? I was talking to one of my old teacher friends. She's like, yeah, I'm still on a Christmas break. I was like, that's cool. I was like, when do you go back? I was like, oh, on Monday. And she's like, what about you? I was like, I mean, every day is a break if I really wanted it to be, or every day is a work day. It doesn't really make a difference. Like, Sunday is Monday, Monday is Tuesday, Tuesday is Wednesday. Like, I'm gonna wake up and choose what I want to do for the day. So I think that's been the ultimate thing for me and Liz, is just freedom.
That's such a blessing. And I wish, you know, I think Harriet Tubman says, I would have freed more slaves
if they knew they were slaves.
If they knew they were slaves.
Yeah.
And I want to tell you, from me to you, this is the particular purpose of this podcast. It's not that we're going to be Harriet Tubman to you. We're definitely not going to be some slave capacity, but we just want to give you some ideas to work with so that, you know, the processing of life, the enjoyment of working, whether that may be in a role of being an employee or an entrepreneur, that it can become a lot easier for you. And I think that leads into our topic today, which I think is, again, a lot of our topics, most of them, I will say most of them probably what we call like 60, 70%. It comes from the audience.
It does.
So we'll poll on, you know, Instagram, you know, we look for all of that support. We look for the feedback.
We even have one-on-one conversations with a lot of our audience.
Oh yeah.
Like if you guys ever want to have a conversation, DM us. Like our Instagrams are on at the end of this video on YouTube. Send us a message. We will be more than happy to talk to you. So do not be shy. We have a lot of people from other countries that just kind of hit us up randomly, start talking to us. It's like, all right, cool, man. We appreciate the feedback. So if that's you, hit us up, man. We're happy to talk.
Yeah, just don't be weird. How about that? Because I've gotten a lot of weird DMs as well, too. So minus the weird stuff, you know, reach out to us. We're available, right? But the smooth transition here today is one of the top topics that were out there was, okay, Otis, Jeff, we understand that you guys have had a little bit of success doing what you're doing, but how is it that you're able to kind of, you know, maintain this level of having the right mind, always being positive? And listen, we're not always positive.
No.
I have good days. I have bad days. I have I have better days than bad days. But I think that leads into today's topic, which is developing what I call a winning mindset, right? I remember I attended this convention. I think it was like maybe 4 or 5 years ago in Vegas. And this guy said, I want you to write this down. And he said, this is the separator. And he said, DAWM, like DAWM. And at first I wrote down Dawn because I was like, dish soap? Like, dish soap, dude. But Dom is developing a winning mindset. And I tell you, if you make space to win, man, celebration is going to be very easy versus the defeat, right? So walking into this topic, having the right like recipe for having a winning mindset, what are some things that are important when, I don't know, like your day to day, your week to week, now noticing, a whole year behind you, right? What are some things that you're focusing on in terms of being effective and some strategies for developing a winning mindset?
Waking up every day with a grateful mindset. I'll be honest with you, when me and Liz used to talk about this years ago before we ever left our jobs, when we first got our dog Kobe wakes up every day like happy. And I used to tell Liz all the time, like, yo, if we woke up every day like that dog never has a bad day. We would be so much further in life, right? And now that's what we try to do. Like, we try to wake up, like, yeah, maybe something hurts or whatever, but dude, you got to be grateful because there's some people that can't do what you're doing, or they don't have the financial capacity to do what you're doing.
True.
They don't have the physical ability to do what you're doing. So I think that's been the biggest thing, being able to be grateful and having the desire to want more.
Okay, I get that. So I'm very much the same way, right? In terms of being in gray space a lot, right? But let's just say you have somebody that you're teaching or somebody that says, "Hey, Jeff, I really want to have more of, okay, I got the grace place down, right? But what's something that you focus on when you're helping this person or when you're leading them to, okay, we got the grace down, right? Be grateful for things like that, right? What are some other things, I don't know, that may become effective for them?
Well, I think leading them by example. If I can't really show them the example of what I'm trying to teach them, it's not really teaching, right? I have to show you the ability. All I owe you really is the example of how to be successful. If I'm not successful myself, how can I really show you what that means? Like, I don't know if you want to kind of add to that. What do you think?
I mean, I'll give you for an example. I remember when you first started, when you were in the thick of dog training, and we had the conversation about, there was a lot of people on social media hitting you up because they wanted to follow kind of the step. And I was like, dude, you're a leader. You might as well lead them. But becoming effective in what you do was just you transferring your skill set, right? It's leading by example and being willing to lead by example, but it's also demonstrating in a set of high standards,
right?
Because it by the way, you don't have to be like Kobe Bryant setting a high standard. That documentary on Netflix came out, The Redeem Team.
Redeem Team, yeah.
This dude is crazy. Like, rest in peace to a legend.
Yeah.
And this guy would watch everybody else go out, and as everybody else went out, he would get up when they were coming in from the club. He would already be in the gym, a full-on sweat. This is 3 a.m., and the practice would start at like 6 a.m., and then he'd be ready to practice with them again, too. And he was so consistent with that. And it was so congruent with his actions that the first thing that I think, when developing this, like having a strategy for mindset, yeah, you got to lead by example, but you got to be consistent with it too, right? You think about the people that you train right now, in the financial industry, as well as, in the dog training business that you guys have as well too. Like, think about this. How, like, congruent are you with, like, would you follow you?
In dog training, yeah, I would. In the financial, I would now.
Yeah.
I would think when I first started, probably not, because I was still learning the ropes. But now, yeah, I would. Only reason being is that you can't fake hunger.
That's so good.
You cannot fake hunger. When someone's hungry, you can see it in their eyes. The way they look at you, the way they lock in eye contact, you can see when someone's BSing you. And I think when someone speaks to me, they know, like, this dude wants it. So it's very easy to lead that and try to follow that when you can see, like, okay, this person has, a big vision. But how does that even play into effect? Well, if my vision's not big enough that other people's vision can fit in it, then I have nothing. I can't really lead you. But if your vision can fit into mine, I can help you get to where you want to go, which in turn will help me get there as well.
I love that. Not only is that a standard, right, but that's also the example too. What about in terms of developing a winning mindset? This is something that I think I've been blindsided by in the beginning of just kind of leading people. But what about practicing this thing we call self-awareness?
It's key because we all have strengths. You have your strengths. I have my
Absolutely.
strengths. What would you say are some of your strengths, just so people can know?
Oh, vision, dude. I have a vision.
I agree.
No matter what. I can have the worst day. My vision is something that not only I sell myself, but it's something continuously, right? I mean, that's just me, right? But I practice self-awareness because I I'm aware of my strengths
Mm-hmm.
and my weaknesses, right?
Give me some weaknesses.
Oh, dude, organization for sure.
Okay.
But that's
Okay.
why whatever I lack
Mm-hmm.
in talent, I make up and for what I married.
Okay, cool.
Right? So my wife is highly organized, right?
Right,
Like in
right.
everything she does. In fact, even with numbers and like
Mm-hmm.
arithmetic, and I'm not talking a simple arithmetic. I'm not the person who's going to be solving these algebraic equations. I'm going to be typing it in Google trying to figure it out, right? But
Right.
my self-awareness is I'm going to operate within, you know, what I know is good and what I know can get me results. And if you're listening to this right now, I think you should probably make a list of pros and cons of things that you're good at, things that you're bad at,
Agreed.
and anything that's on the con side, leave it alone. Leave it alone, right? Whatever you lack in talent, you can make up for discipline and getting more consistent in certain areas, right? And what this will end up doing is that it's going to motivate you and drive you because you're going to notice success.
Mm-hmm.
Think about this: when you have success in something, I don't know, in anything that you do, right? What is something that you know about yourself and you understand about yourself that makes you more diverse than, I don't know, maybe said competitor or maybe somebody else that's in the same field or industry as you?
They're providing me the example, in my opinion, and I just start with the mindset of, well, if you can do it, I can do it.
Okay.
That's literally where the mindset that I come from. I see everyone. Let's just take the financial space for example, and I'll even go into dog training too. In the financial space, you have people making millions of dollars. That's awesome. But then you hear their story, where they came from, who they are, what they did, and you start to sit back and be like, you're not that different than me maybe a few years ago. So why can't I do it? And that's where the hunger comes from. Go back to dog training. 6 years ago, I was not a dog trainer. 6 years later, I have a dog training business that I'm taking business away from some of these bigger companies. It's just vision and hunger. If they can do it, I can do it too. What's the difference? So I think that's how I've kind of practiced some self-awareness. Obviously, I know the strengths that I have, which is, I think, was one of my weaknesses. When I first joined the financial industry, right? One of my biggest weaknesses was vision. I had no vision. Who gave me vision?
What you make up for it. That's
right.
a power of a team.
You gave me vision, right? So that was your strength. So you passed that on. So now I have some vision of my own. So that's not so much a weakness anymore. I wouldn't say it's a strength, but it's definitely not a weakness. It's grown. Now, what were some of the strengths? Hunger, competitive nature. Like, you can't, some people have it, some people don't, right? It's either you use that to your advantage or it's going to also be your disadvantage.
That's that's a good perspective, only because it is. In anything that you do, there's an approach to get anything done, right? But if you take somebody like Elon Musk, okay, and then you take somebody like Henry Ford, okay, Henry Ford created, you know, what we now know as the cars and vehicles that we're driving. They've obviously evolved since then, but there was Elon Musk who came along the way, and he says, not only do I understand how these vehicles move, I can make them efficient because I invested in what he calls global thinking, right? Outside of the box, right? And whenever you're developing this winning mindset, I know that sometimes, most of the times, people solve for the equation of how this box is, right? You know, how people box you in or how you may box yourself in. But it's so important to step outside of that box and stay informed in order to make best decisions, because when you have this way of global thinking, it requires you to have this ability to recognize and have an open mind and different perspectives. And that actually makes you better. There's a gentleman, him and his wife in our industry right now, and they've been here for like 5 years. And in 5 years, they've made like $6 million, and they double like their income every single month. And a lot of that is because of a time-tested system that they said, okay, there's a system like Henry Ford made the car. It was already in place. Now they're like, well, we can modify the system because we're able to think outside the box, right? So to the person that's listening to this right now, I'm curious to know from you, Jeff, like, what is a strategy that, I don't know, a strategy or an example, I think is better, of something that will allow them to think outside of the box rather just to like the regular way of solving a problem?
Well, I think having the open mind is key, because one of the things that I learned is when I used to be very closed-minded in the way I wanted to think, the way I wanted to do things, it didn't get me anywhere. It kept me in the exact same spot every single year. It wasn't until we're like, well, we've been doing the same thing for the past, I don't know how many years. It's the same damn result.
Yeah.
Why not just change our way of thinking? If this is going to work, give it a try. What the hell do I have to lose? That's literally what me and Liz told ourselves. What the hell do we have to lose? And it worked. We opened our mindset. Like you said, we weren't thinking inside the box. We're like, all right, how can we expand this? What can we do? What can we grow? What can we change? What do you think?
There's a gentleman by the name of Roger Bannister, right? Roger Bannister. Remember that name. That's why I slowed it down. Roger Bannister is known for running the mile in 4 minutes. But before he ran the mile in 4 minutes, they said that it was impossible because just based on the mechanics of the body, how the heart pumps, how the lung works, how everything goes together, that they said it was nearly impossible. When I say they, I mean society, I mean scientists, I mean everybody. You can throw them in there. Roger Bannister said, well, if I can do X plus Y, it'll equal Z. Why not give this a shot? Roger Bannister eventually ended up breaking this 4 minute mile. And as soon as he did it, everybody else did because he challenged the status quo of how things were done, right? So if you're an entrepreneur listening to this right now and you're saying, man, there's not a way to do it, then sometimes you have to zoom out, right? Like instead of looking so internally and like your day to day, start inspecting what you expect by zooming out, right? And your global thinking may be, you may have to go get around people who are successful in other industries and maybe challenge the idea just of process improvement and how they do certain things, right? So
let me ask you a question. Because one of the things that you kind of mentioned right now is, right, thinking outside the box, right? Getting around people that have this mindset. But let's just take society, for example, right? Society likes to think a very certain way, right? We're kind of programmed that way throughout school and all that. So I know you've heard the saying, crazy people rule the world.
Mm-hmm.
How do you get someone who has a programmed way of thinking to start viewing the world like that, like the endless possibilities?
Exposure. Exposure. I'll give you guys another term. Idea meritocracy. Okay. It's something where if I am trying to sharpen myself as an individual, although I am full time, I've been in the financial industry the last 8 years. I love what I do. But if I want to improve, I go surround myself with highly successful people of different industries, and I learn process improvement. And I go and I use that same process improvement and I apply it to what I'm doing now. Very nice. Okay, because one of the things that needs to be developed here is not just your IQ, but you need to develop your EQ, your emotional intelligence, right? Which is just as important when it comes to solving problems. You have to be able to feel your way through things, right? Yeah. You have to be able to lead yourself, and become successful in that. And I think when you have a certain approach to things, that's just like, running up against the wall. And sometimes you want to run through the wall, or I think a better way to say that is trying to put a square object in a round object. You learn how to listen actively. You learn how to watch different things. Like we all approach things with the same solving techniques, right? Mm-hmm. But if you watch other people, you'll be able to receive feedback and you'll understand how to communicate that, not just to other people, but it'll be communicated to yourself so that you can become a lot more effective in the variety of many different situations that you approach. So,
and we get feedback every single day. When you look around, you walk out the damn door and you get feedback of everything. I like, what I don't like, what I want, what I don't want. Like everything, if you look around, is an example of either what you can achieve or where you're going to be at.
Absolutely.
So I think, listening, feedback, especially if you're trying to lead a team. I think one of the biggest things that I feel like I grew in this past year, especially with dog training business, right? At the beginning of this year, even right before we started this podcast, I was a solo dog trainer. Right?
You sure were.
Now we lead a team of dog trainers. And the biggest thing that I try to implement all the time is listening to what the trainers want. Like, hey, yo, guys, what do you guys feel is like lacking right now? They'll let me know. Okay, we'll implement that. Right? We'll create a system to make sure their voice is heard. Let's do exactly what they said. Because if that's going to make it more enjoyable, guess what? They're going to grow.
I like that.
So I think, the feedback has been absolutely key. And that's actually one of the things that we did a lot in teaching wise, right? You have to get feedback from these kids from everything in life.
So within this space of developing a winning mindset, how do you nurture strengths and talents? How do you help people understand, I don't know, or do you help people understand that they're weak in that area or they're strong in the area? And if you do, like, which one holds more weight? Like, what do you do to maximize this situation?
Well, I think you first have to learn the personality type that you're dealing with, right? There's some people that they don't want to grow, and to each their own, right? So maybe let's say they have some strengths. You're gonna emphasize those strengths. I'm gonna really hone in on those strengths and help you grow those strengths. Then you're gonna have a certain personality type that, hey, they acknowledge your weakness and they're willing to grow it, and then you can help nurture that as well. But I think you will never know unless you start learning personality types. If you think you're gonna try to grow every single person you meet, you're going to be sorely disappointed. It doesn't work like that. Not everyone wants to grow, and that's okay. But the people that do, that's who you nurture, that's who you listen, you take the feedback, and you run with it.
Yeah, left brain versus right brain solvers is important. But again, it goes back to us talking about developing your EQ, because your EQ will allow you to become more effective in leading, and not just people, but also leading yourself. Right. When you said, like, when we're talking about like maximizing strengths and weaknesses, it makes me think about this this picture I seen some time ago where there was two guys on a boat, and these two guys on a boat, the boat, one side was up higher than the other, and the side that was lowest there was a hole in the boat. These two guys, there's one who is he's trying to like scoop the water out with the hole on one side, and then the guy at the top of the boat, he doesn't have the hole, but he's pointing at the guy and he's telling him, he's like, you mofo, you got us in a situation. And he didn't really realize that by him focusing on the weakness, the hole that was in the boat, they're both at risk now, right? So in terms of like finding strengths and weaknesses, if I'm coaching somebody, if I'm helping somebody, if I'm just giving you some basic advice, I want to know what you're good at. I don't give a damn what you're bad at, okay? I want to focus the strength because it's going to help you build your confidence. It's going to help you stay in your lane. It's going to help you have some consistency, right? So I would say with developing a winning mindset and just having some strategies, dude, this is very crucial for me. Like, this conversation turned into something that probably wasn't supposed to, right? But it definitely did, right? So I like to maximize. I like to invest in the way that we think about things in terms of how you execute, getting outside of the box. What you said earlier about leading by example and being aware. And I think the other thing, what did we talk about?
Maximizing talents and strengths.
Yeah. That stuff is really important. So I don't know. You got any lasting words on this, man?
I mean, season 2 is going to be great, guys. I mean, this is just kind of a little snippet. This is I guess you could say our intro to season 2.
It's what's in these cups.
Yeah, you guys don't want to know that this hot Coke was good. But guys, we're very, very excited. We're grateful. We're humbled to be back. We're excited to be back. New look for you guys. Expect some guests. Some guests are coming on very, very shortly for this season 2. We have a lot of jam-packed episodes. Man, I'm excited.
I am too. I just know I'm so fired up to engage you guys because I feel like, last year was such a great opportunity to grow and learn. And I got a good buddy of mine, and he says, man, I met with him at our winery a couple weeks ago, and he says, man, the kahunas you have to start a podcast and just continuously talk about things, man, I just thank you. And that meant the world to me. And so what that means is like, I want to continuously grow. I feel like I'm learning more from doing this. If it's not just being from Jeff, it's just being from the audience and the reciprocation of love and even the negative feedback. We're going to do an episode on why haters hate and why you need haters. Right. And I love like the haters, I need it. So not that I'm inviting you guys to give me negative feedback or Jeff, but I think that, throughout this season, you're really going to see this north east trajectory on how we're growing and how you can grow with us. Right. So I'll end by saying this, and I'll turn it back to you, that it's going to be very crucial that you share this information. Not because this is just a bunch of gigantic rhetoric. This is real life application. I tell people anytime there's a moment of me learning and growing and I have to transfer information, I start talking real fast. So if you get me talking fast, that's just because I'm getting excited about something, because I've learned something and I want to transfer it to you. So support this message, right? I mean, we ask you guys, whether you're listening to this on, whatever platform that you subscribe, you support it, you share it, because we really know that this message is effective. And it was a guess last season, but this season, we absolutely know without a doubt that it's effective and it's working. So share this, man. Like, it's helping tons of people. So ending this episode, I'll turn it back to you, brother.
Season 2 is going to be one for the book. Episode 1 is in the books, guys. Make sure you guys subscribe, comment, share, leave us feedback. We'll see you on episode 2. Peace.
Adios.